So the biggest issue I see when it comes to this fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Bud Crawford, and overall just in the sport, but mainly this fight, you have your true Canelo fans, your passionate Canelo fans, your supported Canelo fans, your die-hard Canelo fans, your die-hard Terence Crawford fans. You support this guy's career. This is your guy. Crawford's your guy. You're going to pick him over everybody because that's who you like. That's your favorite fighter. And you're not thinking what their other opponent brings to the ring. You're just saying, you know what, this is Canelo Alvarez. He's fought everybody in the sport. Look at his resume, his ring IQ, his experience. I'm picking Canelo Alvarez because 95, 98% of the time, whatever it is, Canelo wins. He's the face of boxing. This is Canelo Alvarez we're talking about. And then you got your Crawford fans. This is Terence Crawford. He's daring to be great. He's jumping up to 168. Look what he did to Spence. Look what he did to Sean Porter. Look what he did to Cal Brook, Amir Khan, so on and so forth. Right? Crawford this, Crawford that, Canelo this, Canelo that. It's not a one-sided fight. You have to, as fans, as a Canelo fan, if that's your guy, if that's your fighter, that's who you like. That's your favorite fighter. Same thing as Terence Crawford. That's your guy. That's your fighter. You support his career in and out. You have to look at this fight and what your opponent, what their opponent, what your favorite fighter's opponent brings to the ring. You can't just say Terence Crawford is going to win this fight because Terence Crawford is your favorite fighter. You can't say Canelo is going to win this fight because Canelo Alvarez is your favorite fighter and you support his career over Terence Bud Crawford's career. And you don't know nothing about Terence Bud Crawford's career because Canelo's the face of boxing. He sells the most. He's fought everybody in the game. And yes, I agree with that. But you have to look at both sides of the fences. And you can keep going back and forth about this all day, right? Canelo, how many different weight classes was he a champion in? How many fighters and champions did he fight? Look at his resume. Look at his ring IQ. Look at experience. He's the face of boxing. He is the pay-per-view star. I get it. Look how many years Canelo has been carrying this sport. He has a whole country behind him. He is a boxing fan favorite. I get it. Canelo is well accomplished. One of the best Mexican fighters of all time, if not arguably the best Mexican fighter of all time. And then you go to Terence Bud Crawford, two-time undisputed champion. Cal Brook, Amir Khan, Gamboa. You have Earl Spence. You have Sean Porter. And Crawford probably should have got bigger fights, even though he was blocked out of some of those big fights, or he should have got those fights sooner. And Crawford's jumping up to 168, trying to be great, trying to be three-time undisputed. Name another fighter who did that. Like, you have to play both sides of the fence. And then you can go, well, Terence Crawford jumped up to 154 and he fought Madrimov and he had a hard time with Madrimov. He had a tricky style. He didn't look so good at 154. What do you think he's going to look like at 168? Well, you can say the same thing about Canelo Alvarez. Well, he fought Landy Lara. He might have lost. He had a tricky time with that style, with that movement. And then that was what, 9-10 years ago. And then he fought William Skull, a Cuban style. And he had trouble with that movement, but yet he had 10 more years of experience as a fighter. He should have hunted him down. But if a fighter really doesn't want to fight, then he doesn't want to fight. But with Canelo Alvarez's experience, he should have hunted him down. He should have went after him. He should have cut off the ring because he's Canelo Alvarez, because he has that experience. We can go back and forth all day about this. And then you can say, well, Terence Crawford hasn't fought in how many years, how many months since Madrimov. He hasn't been active, even though the biggest thing on this channel for me is a fighter being active. And Canelo fought Edgar Berlanga. He fought Edgar Berlanga, who he shouldn't have fought. William Skull, I get that was for the IBF, for him to collect undisputed, to regain undisputed, so him and Terence Crawford can fight undisputed. Boxing is a business. I get it. But come on, he fought William Skull. Had trouble with William Skull's movement. 10 years later of experience after he fought Landy Lara. He shouldn't have trouble with that movement. Get it? We can go back and forth all day, but we have to look at both sides of the fence. Like I said, Canelo, he's fought everybody in the game. Look at his resume. He has been in there with the best. But as of recently, in my opinion, Canelo has been doing nothing but selling these bogus ass fights to his fans. Edgar Berlanga, you're going to sit there and tell me that Canelo Alvarez should have got in the ring with Edgar Berlanga. Stealing his fans' money. That's what he did. William Skull, stealing his fans' money. He's not giving his fans the best fights possible. If that was the case, he should have fought David Benavidez. David Benavidez earned his shot. He went through Caleb Plant. David Benavidez should have got his shot, 2, 3, possibly even 4 years ago. Fought David Morrell. David Morrell was calling out Canelo Alvarez. He should have fought David Morrell over Edgar Berlanga. And you guys could agree with me on that. David Benavidez should have got his shot. I just think it was the passing of the torch to another Mexican fighter, Mexican-American fighter in David Benavidez. But you guys can't sit here and say that Canelo has been giving his fans the best fight. He hasn't been in a physical 50-50 IQ experience fight since he's fought Triple G. And there's a reason why he had to fight him 3 different times. Yes, he jumped up to 175 and he fought Bivol. And I give him credit for that, even though he lost, because that's the Canelo that tried to be great. That's the Canelo who wanted to still build his legacy and conquer another division as a champion. That's the Canelo Alvarez that tried to be great. And I'm a fan of Canelo Alvarez, but we can go back to Terence Crawford, right? Jumped up to 154, fought Madrimov. He didn't look too good. He didn't look too strong. The weight issues, jumping up to 168. What do you think Canelo's going to do to him? And let's be real. For everybody that's saying that Terence Bud Crawford is going to knock out Canelo Alvarez or stop him, let's stop that conversation right now. Crawford is not doing that. If there's going to be a knockout or a stoppage on anybody's side, that's going to come from Canelo Alvarez. But I'm picking Terence Crawford to win. And you can say, yeah, Terence Crawford doesn't have the resume that Canelo Alvarez has. He doesn't have the experience that Canelo Alvarez has. He doesn't have the ring IQ that Canelo Alvarez has. But Crawford is neck and neck with Canelo. He's still competitive. He's still hungry. He's still motivated. He still wants to build his legacy. Crawford hasn't made the money that Canelo Alvarez has, and Crawford don't care about the money. He's still the same dude inside the ring and outside the ring. And he should have been had that money. He should have been had the fights, and he was blocked out of some of those big fights in the mid or early on in his career. But I'm not seeing that from Canelo Alvarez as of lately, as I talked about Edgar Berlanga and William Skull and stealing his fans' money. He has not been giving his fans the best fights that he could possibly make. His competition with fighters in that ring is not up to date. That's exactly why I'm picking Terence Bud Crawford to win this fight. And let's be real, 168 is a big jump. The power, the physicality, the weight is going to dictate this fight. If Terence Crawford can take Canelo Alvarez's punching, watch out for his counter punches, that power and that weight, Crawford will win this fight. And the athleticism of Terence Bud Crawford is going to play a huge part in this fight. Just because Crawford was out of the ring for X amount of days, X amount of months, X amount of years, and not fighting anybody after Madrimov, which I think is a mistake. I think Crawford should have still been active, because that's the biggest thing I'm on in this sport, is being active, especially in your prime. Do not let those years go to waste. And like I said, a mistake by Terence Bud Crawford, but the athleticism. Crawford's not doing nothing when he doesn't have a fight. Wrestling, football, basketball, he's still in the gym. He's still getting sparring rounds in with the best in boxing. Lower weight classes, mid-weight classes, bigger weight classes. Crawford is still staying active. The athleticism of Terence Crawford is hard to beat. Possibly unmatched. He can switch. As long as Crawford uses his movement, he's cautious. He doesn't go blow for blow with Canelo Alvarez. He uses that jab. He stays on offense with his movement and just doesn't do no movement without any offense, because that's going to look like Crawford is running. But Crawford's angles, his jab, he can switch, his movement, the athleticism. And I get Canelo has a stacked resume. He checks almost every single box in the sport of boxing, but the competitiveness in his opponents, the opponent selection is not up to date. We haven't seen much from Canelo Alvarez in opponent selection to give him that 50-50 fight, an IQ for IQ fight, a physical fight. Since he's fought Bivol, since he's fought Triple G, like his opponent selection is not up to date in that ring. And then when you pick someone like Terence Crawford who really wants it, who's hungry, who wants to take your spot, and your body's not up to date with that competition, you're going to fall short in that ring. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So look at this fight from both sides. Look at what Crawford brings to the ring. Look at what Canelo brings to the ring. Don't just say I'm picking Canelo Alvarez because he's my favorite fighter. He has the most experience. He's a superstar and Canelo has a bigger name. You cannot do that. Just because you're a Canelo fan doesn't mean you should pick Canelo Alvarez. Look at what Terence Crawford brings to the table. And same thing with Terence Bud Crawford fans. If you're a diehard Terence Bud Crawford fan, that's your guy, that's your favorite fighter. Look at what Canelo Alvarez brings to the ring. Either way, Terence Bud Crawford by decision September 13th. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.